What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today, we are talking to a Christian named Matthew, who thinks that we literally have the blood of Jesus. He also thinks that God specifically favored him in an auto accident that allowed him to then buy a new car. If you want to fuck around and find out why Matthew thinks that God exists because of his new car fetish, then please stay tuned.
Oh, we got somebody requesting up. Matthew. Hey there, Matthew. How you doing?
Hi, how's it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, so I just like to come on here and just talk, and I'm not somebody that's an a-hole, you know what I mean? So I just like to talk and get to know everybody's opinions and views on things. So all I got for evidence, I say, because I am a Christian myself.
Okay.
The evidence I have only that I've seen is the robes that he wore. They actually took blood samples of the robes, and the blood sample actually turned out to still be living blood cells to this day.
I seriously disagree with that. I would need to see like a citation, some evidence
I can
for
look
that.
I can look up
but also,
articles.
well, even if we were to grant that there were actually still blood, like live blood cells or whatever, how would you actually determine that it was Jesus's blood as opposed to any other blood?
See, that's a good question. That's a good point, because that's what I do not know. That's a good point.
Okay.
And so all I could say, anybody can just lie and be like, yeah, this was Jesus's robe, whatever, anybody can lie.
Well, you could also carbon date it to see if it actually carbon dates back to the 1st century. And my guess is that if it has been carbon dated, it definitely doesn't go back to the 1st century. I mean, even the Shroud of Turin is dated to the 13th century, I believe it is. So, I mean, we just simply don't have any kind of relics or any kind of actual archaeological evidence to substantiate like anything in the past like that, as far as Jesus is concerned.
Okay. All right. And then I just like talking. I just like having fun. Sorry.
You're
so
fine.
My question is on like your view. Do you have like a religion, or do you practice any kind of religion, or?
Well, considering my name is Godless Engineer, I am an atheist.
An atheist. Okay.
Thank you for subscribing, honey. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, if I could hear like your story of maybe how you became an atheist.
Okay. Well, in particular, for the background, there is no evidence that Jesus was ever crucified. That would be mythicism, but I can tell you about atheism. So basically, I was confronted by one of my friends. Not really confronted, like I told him that I had been having trouble with like faith stuff in the past, recent past, and so he talked to me and he was like, "You got to believe in the Bible from cover to cover in order to be like a real Christian." And so like at that point, I knew that I wasn't a Christian, so I had to figure out exactly what I thought, what I believed. And so in doing that, I came to the conclusion after a long time of like hearing both sides of the debate and the arguments and reading a whole bunch of stuff. I came to the conclusion that I no longer believed in God, and I admitted to myself that I was an atheist. And then as far as mythicist goes, that is believing that Jesus did not exist in history. Well, most probably did not exist in history. I found myself in a position where I was needing to defend the historicist argument, and so I went looking for evidence, and I just simply applied the same kind of skepticism that I do for God to the historical nature of Jesus, and I just did not find enough evidence to actually warrant like a positive belief in his existence. And so I'm still currently like trying to find evidence for Jesus's historicity. So that's why I love doing these kind of lives and everything like that. Seems like my wife Casey is giving me all the lightning bolt.
Well, no, that's awesome, man. So I completely understand how, I will say right now, like a lot of people in the world have ruined Christianity in general. And I'm going to say like people like, even like pastors, obviously you've seen pastors become, done things very wrong. I can't say it on live, but so that's what I see what has ruined Christianity for a lot of people on top of like, go ahead.
So get that. Why do you believe like in your God? Specifically, I guess it's the Christian God, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why do you believe in your particular God?
All right. So, sorry, my dog's going crazy. The reason why I believe in God is mainly so when I was younger, so I could say right now, I was raised in a Christian household. Okay. But when I was raised in a Christian household, you start seeing things in a church. You see all the drama inside of a church. And there's drama like a high school in a church, anywhere you go. And so I used to think, after me being raised in church, I was like, why is there all hate? Like, I thought God was supposed to be love, and I thought it was supposed to be, you know, this, that, like whatever. So I ended up becoming an atheist for a while. Then one crazy afternoon, I was driving my car and I actually front-ended somebody, like head-on collision. The other person actually ended up in the hospital, and that person is actually on life support for the rest of his life. And then me, I walked away with no bumps, but maybe a bruise, but my car was completely smashed. And he pulled out in front of me. But what's so funny, they said he was never gonna live. The guy was deceased on sight. I ended up going to the hospital where he was, and he prayed over me. And I was like, I'm kind of like, what the heck? Like, that makes no sense. And so he prayed over me, and then I left that day. And then the next day, a person calls me and offers me money to help me buy a new car. Not insurance, like an actual person. And so I just started having a bunch of like, kind of keep this story short. Sorry for keeping it going so long. But what happened was a bunch of like good things, like blessings is what I call it, happen all at the same time when I was in a crappy situation.
Oh, you can say shit, fuck, whatever. Just that there's the TikTok, you know, things like unalive, mucked up, you know, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that you believe in God for a lot of emotional reasons, for certain events that you think couldn't have happened in any other fashion other than God made them happen specifically for you.
Yeah, like everything was put into place for a reason, in a sense.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What about the many thousands of people who are Christian just like you, who believe in you, who are devout? They go, you know, however devout you consider yourself, they will unalive in car crashes every year. Why specifically you? Like, why did God, you know, suspend his plan in order to save you or get you a new car? Like, you say that somebody gave you money to get a new car. You know, there are kids right now that are unaliving in Africa due to starvation. When I hear these things, those are the kinds of things that I think about. So I know I laid a lot on you. So the first thing is, how do you differentiate yourself from other Christians who have unalived in car crashes? And then second, how do you distinguish, you know, yourself between, you know, getting the money for the car and starving kids in Africa?
Okay, yeah, sure. So one thing I will point out, everybody deals with good things and bad things. You can either say you get lucky, you can either say, I don't know, what's another good word to put it, that you receive something out of the ordinary, extraordinary. And then you also got, you know, evil, bad things that is the opposite of good.
See, I consider evil and bad to be subjective, like views of things. I mean, I think that there are things that we can both agree are what we would consider to be bad, but there may be some topics that I consider to be either morally neutral or morally good, and you would consider them bad.
Fair.
Like, that's you fair. Know, yeah.
That's fair.
So I mean, I guess I'm not compelled by your particular reason for believing in God. I would personally need like actual evidence, because coincidence is a far more likely situation for all of those things than, you know, like a supernatural wizard making it happen in your life.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not convinced by it. What another question? Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. What's your position on child marriages?
Child marriages, like younger than 18?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that would be specifically speaking about ages, you know, like 8 to 14 or something like that, like young, like child marriages. What do you think about that?
Yeah, see, I'm a person who wants to be, like, if I have kids, right? I don't have any kids right now, but if I have kids in the future, I would not consent of any kind of marriage before the age of 18. That's just me personally.
That's good, because that makes you more moral than your own God.
Yeah, because I personally believe that.
So you agree that you're more moral than Yahweh. You're more moral than Jesus.
I'm not saying I'm more moral. I'm just saying that that's what I believe.
Oh, I am saying that you are, and I'm wondering if you acknowledge the fact that God mandates child marriages in the Old Testament, and if Jesus is God in the New Testament, or Jesus is a representation of God, then Jesus is also culpable for ordering child marriages to occur, and also ordering men to treat women as property, and also ordering men to subject women to sexual slavery.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I do agree, because, well, I look at, like, history. So say the Bible, right? Say the Bible never existed. Let's just put it this way. The Bible never existed, and we had a history book. Okay, we have to learn history in school. And now, in history, we still see the same things as if they were related in the Bible. So say that the Bible wasn't...
No, that's not true.
Say there was no Bible, there was no laws.
No, right, but that's not true. The Bible is not representative of history at all.
Oh, okay. Okay, well...
Well, I mean, what event in history do you think is represented in the Bible accurately?
So I do believe, like, Noah's Ark was a very good example. Noah's Ark... No, I'm so sorry. I got to stop you right there, because there's no evidence that Noah's Ark is a real thing. The flood could have never happened. And I could give you a whole list of reasons, if you want me to, as to why that entire story is bullshit. Not only from a evidential level, as far as like in history goes, but also from a moral perspective. Like, that's a horrible fucking story that I'm glad is not representative of reality. All right, can I ask this question? This is a cool question.
Okay.
Do you believe there was ever anything as such as like giants? Do you ever believe there was anything such as
giants in what sense?
Like 9 feet tall, 10 feet tall.
9 feet tall. 10
no,
foot
sorry.
tall.
Let me get it a little more accurate. 12 feet tall. So
12 feet tall.
So
wow.
you think about double the size of a 6 foot man.
Yeah. You would need.
I'm just asking.
No. I do not believe in magical giant men.
Okay, cool. All right, and then my next question to that one is, do you ever believe, so I was always curious on how and why the pyramids were built. I personally don't know.
How and why the pyramids were built?
In the Bible,
understand. No, we understand why the pyramids were built. I mean, they were built as like tombs for kings and shit. And like, I'm sure they had other purposes, like cultural purposes or whatever, but I mean, the primary reason for them were, to bury kings and stuff in. Like, there's a king buried in like each one. Like, they were, that's what they were used for.
Yeah.
Like, I could double check myself real quick, but I'm fairly certain that's right.
So when we built the pyramids, we used, how many men do you think it took to build the pyramid? Slaves, sorry. I didn't say slaves.
I think a fuck ton, however you want to adjust that.
A bunch of people. Now, if we look at the schematics of a pyramid and block by block, one of those blocks weigh more than a F-350 truck that we see today driving on the road.
Yeah, but we have plausible explanation as to how they could actually move those things. It's actually quite simple as long as you understand like how to move massive objects. Like you could, carve out the stone and then put it on some like logs, and then you can gradually move it across, whatever kind of medium you want. So, there's logical explanations for that. There's also a way that you can sort of walk these large stones. People put ropes on either side of them and everything like that, and they sort of walk it kind of, I don't know if you've ever walked off like a table or something like that has two sides of it. You move one side of it, then you move the other side of it, and you can just sort of walk it like that. Like, I mean, there's plenty of modern examples of people like lifting heavy materials without the need for modern equipment. So like, it's more plausible that they just figured out some kind of way to do it in that kind of fashion.
Yeah. Well, sweet, man. Like I said, dude, everybody has different views, you know, and I'm just glad we had a discussion, had a, you know, respectful discussion. Unlike some people in other lives, they tend just to be real jerks, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, and I agree. Some people can be, but I think everybody has their own way of communicating and their own goals in a life. So I'm not going to try to judge anybody for it, but I do try to have I try to match energy. So if you come on here and you're just like, hey, I'm just, you know, having a cool conversation, then, you know, then that's what I'm here for.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it, and I hope you have the good rest of your day then.
All right. You do the same there, Matthew.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, heathens, for tuning in today. What did you think about what my interlocutor said? Do you agree with them, or do you disagree with their statement? Do you think that they made a solid point that should make me believe in God or the existence of Jesus? Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.